Welcome, and you are welcome for the information you're about to receive from me, Frank. I'm an expert in history, and I have a degree in the self-same subject of history, from whence much of that expertise doth come. Anyway, so tonight we have a very exciting video. It's exciting for a number of reasons. For one, we're doing a report on the equipment of the Austro-Hungarian Empire. So this is the tools and equipment that an Austrian soldier would have carried into war.
Ugh, throw another shrimp on the barbie, mate.
Okay, yep. So we're talking about Austrians right now, but that does remind me that we have a guest tonight. So our guest we are lucky to have the founder and trustee of the McGovern collection, William, and this is maybe the finest collection of antique weapons on the planet. And as an interesting point of fact, William's wife is the heiress, Joni Havens, of the Havens of New York and London and about a quarter of Dubai.
Yeah,
and
a quarter of Dubai.
Yeah, that's still pretty good. So tonight,
I just want to say, darling, it's I miss you. I miss you, my sweet, crazy little chunk. And I just want you to know that Francis here has assured me that these videos will get over 1 million views. So I guess that batshit crazy investment opportunity that you said wasn't so batshit and crazy after all. You know, but don't worry. No one thinks you're too stupid. Everyone makes mistakes every once in a while.
Yeah.
So I miss you, darling.
Cool. Thank you, Joni, for your help. And absolutely, that's the case. But it definitely could be a situation that these videos have reached 1 million views each, at least, by the time we're done filming this, and particularly this one, because William, in addition to his many other talents, is good at marketing and SEO, and which is why you may have noticed the title for this video is Austrian Death Weapons of World War I with Bikini Fails, Stepsister Minecraft.
But it's Stepsister.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Not sister, stepsister.
Yep. Yeah. It's part of the marketing.
It's not weird.
It's part of the marketing thing, and William he's I give him all the credit in the world for coming.
Yeah, I mean, don't be so modest there, Francis. We came up with it together. You were in the room, and I believe the Bikini Fails was your idea. It was a very good one. I can admit when someone has a good idea that isn't mine, and this time I do. So that was good.
Cool. Yeah, that could have
I
been
did most of it, but yeah,
that could have been the case. Yep, that is definitely a thing that possibly could have happened. So now we have a number of new antiques that William has brought here for us to examine and talk about. And before we get into it, is there anything you would like to mention?
Well, Francis, we actually do have another symposium at Hillview Elementary School, and but this time, if you could refrain from loading live ammunition into the gun and fire it into the ceiling, I would be greatly appreciative. It did cost me a pretty chunk out of my allowance.
That was sabotage from jealous other history other history types. So we don't need to talk about that. We will get on to the antiques. So what we have here is the Steyr M1912 pistol, and this is commonly referred to as the Steyr Hahn. And it's called the Steyr Hahn because it has a hammer. Hahn is German for hammer. But this is
one of the most impressive and expensive of all the pistols.
That's true. This is a rare, scarce pistol, and it's the model for a number. It was incorporated into a number of modern pistols. And so this guy.
Now, correct me if I'm wrong, but don't all of these have a serial number that makes them unique and wildly expensive?
Yeah, they do. So for collectors, a matching serial number is important. It's less important to me as a student of history. I think even mismatched types, all the parts have a story to tell. But as an investor, Williams assured me he's found matching serial numbers for this, and that is an important detail for him. So, okay, so here we go. Here are the matching serial numbers right here. You can see that. There's one there, and then there's one there. So it appears, well, no, there are matching serial numbers, but it appears that what could have happened is that someone defaced this beautiful old gun by scratching out one of the serial numbers, and since this is a 1913 top half of the pistol, by rubbing out the Chilean crest right there. Should be a Chilean crest.
Yeah, from pulling it from your holster. Everyone knows that.
Yep.
And Australia and Chile are right next to each other in Europe, so it makes sense. And correct me if I'm wrong, but there are 2 serial numbers there that match. Am I wrong?
No, they match. They're the same numbers.
Okay, so go on with it.
Yep. Well, and that's good, because the alternative is that this beautiful, scarce historical pistol...
Expensive.
Yep, it definitely would have been expensive, was grotesquely defaced for no reason, so it's good that that didn't happen. This pistol, if you'll notice, it has an internal magazine. It's interesting in that way. I'll show you how this is loaded. So you open it up, and then you grab a stripper clip here, and you put that right
Francis,
here. Yep.
Is that live ammunition you were loading into the pistol?
I'm not going to load it. I wasn't going to load it. I was just making a demonstration. So, you know what? Okay, and the next object we have to talk about is a Pickelhaube helmet. This is an Austrian helmet that all of the Austrians would have worn into battle, and the feature that most people notice first is the spike right here on the top.
Now, correct me if I'm wrong, but this spike, although, obviously this one has been shaven down, which is a little annoying, but this spike used to be worn by the Austrians when they went into battle, and they'd impale an enemy soldier on it so that the body would be wobbling around and terrify the enemy combatants as they charged into battle. And also, I read this in a book, and a history book, and this is actually the where the origin of the joke "that's not a knife" came from.
Yep. So having a head-butted enemy squirming on a spike impaled on this helmet could have been what was happening. There's an alternative position that this actually was for a tassel, for a horsehair tassel that you would put in there. But the thing that you said makes a whole lot more sense, particularly since this is Austria we're talking about. But they have knives in Austria. We're going to talk about that later. We have an Austrian knife here. So
that's not a knife.
So anyway, so that's that. It's a fun helmet. It's a good helmet. The next is one of the most interesting. This is an ad hoc weapon that would have been created by an average Austrian soldier. This is a trench flail, and this would have been used.
Oh, this is a knife.
So this is an.
It's not, though. That's the joke. It's not a knife.
Yep. That's a good point. This is good. And so this is an Austrian trench flail, and it would have been used to silently dispatch enemies in the trench. So you wouldn't wake someone up with a pistol or whatever.
Yeah. And right.
Yeah.
The Australian Knights used to kill Nazis with this, right?
Yeah. You own it. I mean, it could have been
like.
Okay. All right. Yep. Okay.
All right.
So
all right. I'll get up.
Let's be careful, maybe. So. Okay. So a little bit further back. So the sort of trench flail had its. Okay. And.
All right. Well, yes, the flail. Nice.
Yep.
Oh, I believe my lovely wife is calling me. I better go. Well, the old ball and chain. Ball and chain. Anyway. All right. Well, Francis. Yes. Hello, darling. Yes. Bye, Francis.
So, Okay, the next antique we have is, okay, this is an entrenching tool. And this would have been used primarily to dig holes, but it also would have been used as a fighting weapon. The author of All Quiet on the Western Front, this has been ground down to keep it sharp. He suggested that this is the favored weapon of the people in the trenches because of how effective it was at fighting. This is an Austro-Hungarian trench knife here, and this would have also been, and it has a false edge. They call it a false edge, but this one is sharp, so mayhaps a false edge, if it were. Something to think about. And that is the show for tonight. And I thank you all, and good